So specifically when it comes to certain industries across the cybersecurity landscape, we notice and we understand that we are more and more reliant on interconnectivity. Again, you really need to look no further than the last 3 to 4 months to understand how interconnected we are. And some of the disciplines within the cybersecurity field are disciplines that people may not necessarily recognize, immediately as a cybersecurity field. So let's do this. Let me offer you a definition of what encompasses cybersecurity. And this is a question that I get at work all the time. The day job that I go to on most days, as well as the organizations that I can consult for, because they don't understand necessarily what is cybersecurity. Well, so the definition that I'm going to offer you is simply this. Things that I, as a cybersecurity director, need to be aware of and have oversight to is anything that can affect either negatively or positively the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of the data of that organization. Now, if you accept that simple definition, try to think of all the things that affect confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data within an organization. And the longer that list gets, the more you can see how you don't necessarily have to be a keyboard warrior to enter a cybersecurity field. You may already have or may already be in a cybersecurity field as we define it currently and just not know it. One example that I can offer you, for instance, is supply chain risk management. Supply chain risk management is a cybersecurity field. How do you apply that, or what can I give you from an example from today of how supply chain risk management or poor supply chain risk management can affect an organization overall, whether it be an organization singularly as a corporation, whether it be a governmental organization, whether it be a nation. Supply chain risk management or poor supply chain risk management can affect adversely your ability to meet a mission. So, for example, our current hospital capability, right? Our current hospital capacity as a nation was not prepared for all hospitals to be overwhelmed at once. We're very modularized in this country, right? So while Kansas, their hospitals were fine. They weren't seeing a huge surge in patients coming in with a strange unknown virus. New York, California, New Orleans, they got overwhelmed. But because the rest of these states were now anticipating being overwhelmed, the surplus of supplies that they had in other states could not necessarily be given up to states that needed it. How could that have been fixed? Well, it could have been fixed from just observing the supply chain. Where do we get these supplies? What happens if the supply chain is disrupted? What happens if the supply chain is tainted? These are all things that I, as a cybersecurity professional, that I, as the director for cybersecurity of a defense contractor, these are things that go into decisions that I make every single day. And none of them necessarily require me to be able to bend code or write programs or hack a box from across the planet. It is overall holistic security. So don't be afraid if you don't necessarily know all the details of technology, because you don't need to get into this field. This field is wide and varied, and many talents serve the needs of this field. And there are many industries and organizations looking specifically for people that have what I call non-classical cybersecurity talents, if that makes sense. So how do you mold yourself to get where you want to go, and what is the advantage of doing so? Well, breaches are happening every single day. Some of them you hear about, most of them you don't. But depending on the industry or the organization, they need people capable or able to not only prevent the breach from happening, but be able to respond when the breach does happen, because it will, as well as people able and capable of reducing overall liability for an organization when the breach happens, regardless of the attack origin, right? We put a lot of things in this basket that we call cybercrime, right? And it's one of those things that it has become a catch-all for things that we just don't know where to put other things, right? And at this point, the basket is getting kind of overflowing, if you understand. Not all things that are necessarily labeled as cybercrime are truly cybercrime, but that is an advantage to us, right? To current and prospective future cybersecurity professionals. It's an advantage for people to keep putting more and more into that catch-all basket, because that means they're going to need more and more varied skill sets to be able to accommodate all of these different things going into this catch-all basket. So understand that one of the first things that I advise people is that over time, the one field, if you look back just through history, right, go back to the late 90s-ish up till now, there is one distinct field that, regardless of the economic situation of locale or the nation, has always increased, and that is cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is currently what and for the foreseeable future, what I call a recession-proof field. While people are scaling down other types of skilled labor, those positions that they are giving up are that the money allocated for those positions are being shifted towards cybersecurity positions. That only means good things for those that can position themselves well now to take advantage of them when they're available, right? The market for cybersecurity is expected to grow to over $152 billion between 2018 and then 2023. From $152 billion to $248 billion. That's a 100+ fold increase. Why would you not take advantage of it if you have the ability to do so? And I am living proof that the ability, right, is nothing less than your ability to chase after it.